Everybody, David Alter here for Rink-Wide Toronto, presented by Bodog. Make a play, Canada's choice for free casino game, sports odds, and poker strategies. And tonight, the Toronto Maple Leafs get set to host the New York Islanders right here at Scotiabank Arena. And of course, anytime it's the Maple Leafs taking on the Islanders, it's a sentimental game for John Tavares. Remember, he spent his first 9 years with the Islanders before deciding as a free agent to come to Toronto. Still always wants to have a good showing. It is going to be career game number 300 for the Maple Leafs as well. So it kind of tells you how time has kind of flown since 2018 when Tavares actually did decide to make the jump to come home and play for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And remember, it was just a year later when he became the team's captain. Actually, an interesting story that came out of the morning skate availability with Sheldon Keefe when he took over as head coach of the Maple Leafs in November of 2019. He was actually on a plane with Tavares heading to Arizona to join the group. Mitch Marner was also there. I guess they were not with the group at the time when the road trip started. So he kind of mentioned that someone like a Tavares was instrumental in helping the young coach make that adjustment and that development. So certainly going to be a sentimental game, different takes and opinions. William Nylander said, well, he's played enough games. Maybe it's not as much of a thing for him anymore. But Austin Matthews had the opposite take, thought that, you know what, it's still the Islanders, still memories there. I'm sure he's going to want to have a good showing. So that's what's going to happen up front. The Leafs are going with the same lines and defense pairs for the fourth game in a row, and that is despite the fact that they made a switch early in that game against the Buffalo Sabres in their 5-2 victory. They switched everything up. Head coach Sheldon Keefe mentioned that was just more about kind of getting Tage Thompson away from some of the group, some of the things that the Sabres were doing. Sheldon Keefe's known to make adjustments on the fly like that, but he really wants consistency with the group. It's going to be the fourth game in a row that the forward lines and the defense pairs start in the exact same formation. So that's where that stands. It's going to be Erik Kallgren who gets to start against the Islanders. Matt Murray has been a bit of on a roll since he's come back from an adductor injury, but Sheldon Keefe explaining it was going to be the fourth game in 6 days. Had he run with Murray again, so he decided let's not do that, give him a bit of a rest. Huge emphasis on workload management for Matt Murray. So it's going to be Erik Kallgren, who's turned his game around since he had been called upon to be the number one guy with Murray and Ilya Samsonov out of the lineup. Samsonov, an update on him. He'll be back on the ice with the team tomorrow for practice. He had not been on the ice with the group for the last few days. It wasn't a setback, but something where they just felt the knee wasn't responding, but he is getting better. He'll join the team for the road trip, the 4-gamer that's coming up. Of course, rink-wide will be there. And at some point, he might be able to come back, but he's not expected to return this week. The news isn't good on TJ Brodie, who's been out with an oblique injury. Head coach Sheldon Keefe said that they're not expecting him back anytime soon. It's not progressing at the speed that they would have liked. Remember, Kyle Dubas actually put a minimum 2-week timeline on Brodie's injury, but it looks like it's going to be a bit longer, and he's not expected to be joining the team for the road trip. So that's a bit of a setback. So the same 6 defensemen that the Leafs have been running, including Jordie Benn, who's been in that spot, are going to have to keep rolling again, and that's a bit of a blow because TJ Brodie is one of the more dependable defensemen for the Maple Leafs since he joined the team on October 9th of 2020. So that's the story here. Bit of a later start. It's a 7:30 Eastern game. Myself and Rob Wong will have your Rink-Wide Toronto post-game show. Make sure you rate and subscribe on all your favorite podcatchers to Rink-Wide Toronto, presented by Bodog, Canada's home for casino games and sports odds, where everyone goes to play. Rink-Wide Toronto, pregame, postgame, every game.